I'm Tara.
And I'm Misty.
And this is the Handmade podcast. I thought we were going to say that
Sorry.
together.
I'm just thinking, Tara's back.
Yay, I'm happy to be back. So today we are going to talk about the projects we are knitting on, the projects we finished for Christmas gifts, and we're going to share, or I'm going to share my needle storage because Misty did in the last episode. So welcome. Thanks for being here with us. It's the week of Christmas, so we are going to keep this fast and snappy so you can get back to your own Christmas crafting. If you're like us, you're like, oh.
Or maybe you're watching this after Christmas and you're like taking a breath and you say, phew, we made it. It's over.
Yeah, and maybe knitting with all of the yarn that you got for Christmas. That's what we hope for you, is you get lots of yarn. So
if not, go buy yourself some in the day after Christmas sales.
Yes, good idea. So we'll start with talking about what adventures in stashing, what we got. I have just received as my Christmas gift from Misty. It's her crazy self-striping yarn to make socks out of, and she actually split it into 2 skeins, and they're matching. I had the cake.
We've lost the cake.
Okay. Yeah, no, here it is. Okay, so you can see a little better the stripe sequence in that. It goes through the rainbow. Does it go through the rainbow once for each sock?
It goes through almost
it looks like
twice. It ends on the purple. It goes purple and then pink starts over with pink, and most of it ends at that purple at some point, but it doesn't go all the way through the purple.
I'm so excited. And she even tied them up so I can start at the pink end, and I'm so excited. I'm going to make stripy socks. So that was my brand new acquisition. But previously, I had ordered so when you order from Plucky Yarn, it takes like over a month to get to you because they dye it and package it up. And for the sweater Brandied Cherries by Thea Coleman, I ordered Cozy. I'm taking it out of its plastic bag because I want to keep it safe from dog hair at my house.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Isn't that super nice? It is Cozy. It's 260 yards. It's superwash merino and baby camel.
Ooh, camel.
And it feels a lot like alpaca, but I think
super soft.
Yeah, and it's not hairy at all. It feels really like very similar to alpaca to me. And I don't know if you can see the squoosh on that twist. The way that the twist is very, very loose. Each ply is loose, and then they're plied together tightly to make a really round yarn. So I'm gonna knit.
This is very
nice.
It's
a super cabled sweater.
Ooh,
it's
I
called
cables.
Yeah, and this is really lightweight, and she knit the sample in this, and she said you want to get a really lightweight yarn, otherwise it'll be really heavy with all those cables. So this color is Lonesome Highway. It's Plucky Knitter. I love it. It came in the mail right before we left for my mom's for Christmas, so I was like, oh, and I just threw it in my podcast bag to show you because I'm so excited.
Well, I can't wait to see your pattern. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, so I will link to it in the show notes. Brandied Cherry by Thea Coleman. I'm so excited. That is after I finish all the other projects we're going to talk about today. And I think that's it for my, the other thing that I got that I just showed Misty is I've lost my tape measure. So I got an adorable tape measure from Lantern Moon at Pearl's Yarn Emporium in Asheville. It's the cutest yarn shop. They're big Doctor Who fans. They always do a window display with like the Doctor and the TARDIS, and like sock monkeys are the Doctor. But they actually, and I Instagrammed about it, one of the owners, he is dyeing a colorway for each Doctor. So like the first Doctor was black and white, and then there's Doctor 2, and how they have it displayed though is he's built a display that looks like a blue TARDIS, and it says like public yarn box.
I've seen that at SAF. They had that at SAF.
Yeah, and then they have the Doctor yarns hanging on it, and so I got this there, and then I took it with me. I knew I needed a tape measurement when I went to Vermont for my grandfather's funeral because I knew I'd be sitting around knitting a lot, like talking to family members. So I got the tape measure, and I let my 5-year-old cousins, they're twins, play with it, and they were so cute, and they were measuring each other, and it kept them busy for hours, and then they brought it to me, and they're like, we broke it. They stretched it, and now it won't go back. There's a button on the back that if you push it, it should like wind back up. But it still works. It's still a tape measure. Yeah. So kind of sad, but it's still like I have no tape measure, so it's better than that. You know?
I have like 5. I'll give you one.
Yeah, and I love the little bob face on it. It's just so stinking
That's very cute.
And that's from Lantern Moon makes it, but I bought it at Pearl's Yarn Emporium. If you're ever in Asheville, you should go to Pearl's Yarn Emporium.
I'll have to go. I've not been in years.
Oh, it's so great. And so it has new owners over the past couple years, and I met the husband because it's a husband-wife team, and he's so super nice, and he does the dyeing. He was knitting. He was there for the presentation I was giving in the last episode. Why I couldn't be here is because that Monday I was talking to alpaca farmers, and he was in the audience, and he was working on 4 socks at once.
What?
On one really long needle.
What?
4 socks.
What?
Yeah,
no way.
Well, I kept looking. I was like, what are you, like, in the middle of my talk, he's in the front row, and I look down and I go, what are you knitting? And then I was like, okay, so back to what I was saying. Because it was so distracting, and he was doing it with his hand-painted yarns.
Oh,
They were going to
wow.
be samples. And you just have the 4 balls coming off, and each time you come to that yarn, you knit with that yarn, and then you drop it, and then you pick up the next one, and you knit with it. It was amazing.
Why would you want to do that?
To get them all done at once, I guess. So you didn't have to keep... I know, I like to do it one at a time. Hey, get away from my coffee. Misty's dog is enjoying my coffee. So how about you? You got new needles, which were super cool.
I got new needles. I had made, and I'm still thinking about it. At one time I had thought about carrying needles either in my online shop or in the local shop that I'm a part of. And so I made inquiries to different needle companies to see what their minimum wholesale would be. And one of the companies I had contacted was Collage, Knitter's Pride. Let me get the label. Oh. So they called me the other day, and they had to remind me what I had contacted. I was like, what? Because it'd been a while. And they're just like, we want to send you needles. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, you're going to send me needles, yeah. But they didn't know we had a podcast, and so I wanted to review the needles on here and show you guys, and I really like them.
Oh, you have to show the cords.
I had, they sent me 2 sets. They're both size 7. These are squares. And I have used their squares before and liked them. Now, I know that recently I have had their square double points, and I've complained that they are super sharp, and they are. But these are not. They are very nice tips. They're nicely tapered. They've got a great point to them. I like a good pointy needle, and these fit the bill. They sent me 2 different cables. This one is their firm cable, and you can kind of see it has some memory, not memory, but, shape to it. It's, and then, but the good thing about this one is it spins. Can you see that it spins?
That's interesting.
So I like that about a needle. This one does not spin, but oh my gosh, I have never seen such a floppy cable. Look at this. It's like a wet noodle. I mean, it's just floppy to beat all. I used it, my blue sand cardigan requires a size 7 on the sleeve, and so I used it as magic loop.
Here, let's hold up the 2 together. I think it's so if you hold it just by the needle, watch what the 2 cables do. You see how one has a shape and the other one is just totally...
Yeah, and I'm letting the other needle just hang down so you can see how floppy it is. I thought that was amazing. This one does not, the floppy one does not turn like the other one does, but it really doesn't need it, I guess, with such a floppy cable. I mean, it's not gonna, I don't think it would be necessary with this kind of loose cable. So these are also supposed to be better for your hands, to where the square shaft
doesn't make you cramp in the same way.
I really like them. If you're looking for a new needle, or if you're having hand issues, give them a try, because they are really worth it. And this cable, if you're gonna magic loop, you've got to try this. This is
because there's no tangling, there's no bending, there's no
And I've had magic loop where that cable has some memory, and it really stretches that split where your work is split right there. It really stretches it out, and so this won't do that. So yeah, I really enjoyed knitting with these on my magic loop on my sleeve. So that's my opinion.
That's awesome.
This was not prompted by them. They did not know that I would be doing this, but she's supposed to contact me back in a week or so, and I'm going to tell her that I did review them on there. So
yeah, awesome.
That's what I think.
Yay, they look amazing. They were completely shocking me with how cool they are.
Yeah, very cool.
So what we're working on right now, do you talk about what you're working on?
I dyed some yarn.
Oh, that is a beautiful color. I didn't see this before we got started. It's
Isn't that pretty?
Kind of the color of wine.
Yeah, my husband wanted a burgundy type color, and I got some new dye in, and so I played around. But this isn't just one color of dye. I added I use like 3 different colors in here. So I really like how it came out. I am knitting a vanilla sock, top down. I did 76 stitches cast on. I'm using these little 9-inch circulars, and I want to like these really bad. They're still, there's a curve with them.
Yeah.
I like them for his sock because I don't feel like you're having to squish the yarn around the needles as much.
Because you're making a bigger sock.
There's extra stitches on there. I'm going to try the double gusset heel by Christy Payne, I believe is the pattern. I don't know. I looked at it. I don't remember if I looked at hers or another one to get my stitch count, but I measured around his foot and ankle, and I took gauge from my other sock that I have been knitting on these needles, and I'm getting about 8 to 8.5 stitches an inch. And so I kind of base that on what I would need. And I know that I looked at Laura Neal's book. I think that's what I ended up using. I looked at her sock architecture book and what it recommended for stitch count. And
it says something like you take 10% less.
Yeah,
you do the math.
Yeah, I did that. I took 10% less and got the 76. And I knit on these while watching The Hobbit the other night. And I only had 2 mistakes. I had added 2 stitches on there, and you could see it. And so I dropped down, and it was quite a ways down. It was like that, it was like this far down in the sock. But I was like, I'm not ripping that back. And so I dropped down and fixed it, and there's one of them.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. You can't even see it. It's fine. And so I dropped down and fixed them both. And I've decreased one of those stitches so far recently. And so I'm going to wait just a little bit and probably decrease the other one. But it shouldn't. It's on the leg, so it shouldn't matter.
And it's so tiny.
Yeah.
So I have never liked those little needles because I don't like how short the needle itself is. I feel like I'm holding my hands like this instead of like this.
You are. It takes getting used to. And you have to, and U Creek Cottage on Instagram had asked me what I thought of them, and I had a crazy busy day yesterday and didn't have a chance to write my reply because I had stuff to say about those. So, but yeah, you feel like that I've had to make myself relax because if you don't, your hands will cramp up really quick. So you have
to, tiny thing you're holding on to.
You have to like make yourself, make an effort to not grip it too tight. And so, but once you get used to them, I feel like I fly with them.
Awesome.
And so, I especially on his sock. On my sock, I don't know. I want to like him, but, and she commented that ribbing is awkward, and it is.
Yeah.
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 Because I'm used to putting my, you can see I've still got my pinky rested on the cable over here. I'm used to using my whole hand on the shaft of a needle.
Yeah, and so, if you look at like how all my fingers like are still holding the shaft on yours, they're like
like on the cable. Yeah, they're really. I feel your feet scrunched in, but but if you can get the extra speed with them, you may be willing to get used to that. So
yeah. I don't know if I would go any faster, though, if my hands are crampy.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that you're not, holding tight. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Let me turn that off.
So the project I'm working on...
Oh, remind me later. Go away.
So what's funny is that it came on her phone.
I don't know why it's doing that. It does that all the time. And I'm like,
Did you put it on airplane mode? You should do that while I talk about this. So what I'm working on is the Honey Cow from, it's a free pattern from Madeline Tosh. And this is in Madeline Tosh DK. And it's a slip stitch pattern. Oh, this color is not showing up properly under these lightings. Trust me when I say it's beautiful.
It is pretty.
It's what would you call this color?
It is like, I don't know. It's
turquoise?
Kind of teal, but it's like a bright light teal.
Yeah. And so it is, I realize we're not holding it up as we're admiring it.
That's a pretty stitch pattern.
Yeah. So it's just a 2-row pattern, and I am making this I'm sure she doesn't watch. I'm making this for my mother-in-law for Christmas. We will see her the weekend after Christmas, so I still have time. I'm not too stressed. And it's just a cowl like this. And I'm going to go on and tell you about the finished project I did, because I finished a cowl very similar to this, but in Malintosh Pashmina. And I have a sample of that to show you. The color is just like so gorgeous. It's called Blue Nile. And you can see it's like blue and it's got a little bit of purpliness in it. It's awesome. This is the size small, and for my mom for Christmas in that pashmina, I made the size large, this is 110 stitches and that's 220. So it's a much longer cowl, and she can actually double it up twice. And you can look in my Ravelry projects to see pictures of me wearing it like tight, and also pictures of it all folded up. It is awesome and soft and swooshy, because that pashmina is like both cashmere and silk. The knitted fabric feels like amazing.
I bet it does. How much yarn did it take?
It took 50 grams of that sport weight yarn, which is just a little heavier than fingering, and it's 100 gram skein, and it took 50 grams.
Really?
I have 50 grams left over. Now you could have made it like deeper, but because my timeline was crunched, because I did Christmas with my mom last weekend, which is why I don't have the cowl to show you, because I've already given it to her. I finished it the day before I gave it to her. I would have made it like, if I had to do over, I would just use the whole skein and make it like a really tall, like hers ended up being like maybe this tall.
That's
but then,
still a decent.
And then you double it too, and it's like it completely covers her neck.
Yeah, so that was still decent. Yeah,
exactly. I would have just used all the yarn.
Yeah,
if I could have used all the yarn. But then so the other project I'm working on is actually what you saw here. With the remaining half, I'm going to do, because it's kind of TARDIS-y blue, I'm going to do that tilting TARDIS cowl that Misty talked about back in our Doctor Who episode, and I will link to it, of course, in the show notes. But you can see it's just like 3 rows into it, so you can't see the TARDIS yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this before I give it to its gift recipient, so I wanted to show you at least the beginnings.
Pictures for Instagram.
I know. I will definitely share it, and it's going to be the tilting TARDIS lace pattern, but instead of just a cowl that buttons here, I'm going to make it a longer cowl so that you can fold it twice. Because the recipient...
You are so brave. I would be so nervous that I wouldn't have enough yarn. Now, does it knit flat?
What do you mean?
Like, do you knit it flat and then it buttons?
Yeah. This is just you knit back and forth flat, and it's the width of it. And I did 2 things. One is I scoured Ravelry to see how much yarn other people used.
Oh, that's cool.
And most people used the amount of yarn that I have to make theirs.
Very good.
I decreased it by 1 repeat, so it's gonna have 2 less tardi on the end. And then I also, the thing about a scarf like that is you can kind of stop it when you want to stop it. So I'm going to go all the way to the end, and then I'm going to stitch it both sides together to make that loop.
That's cool.
And part of it is I've already finished a cowl that was as long and thick as I want this one to be with half a skein. So I know that a half a skein will give me that honey cowl, even it was, it took up more fabric, like more yarn. This pattern takes up more yarn than a lace pattern will, because a slip stitch makes it denser and you're not like going as fast. You're just using more yarn to make the pattern. So the lace will take up even less, which means it should definitely be enough.
Awesome.
Also, there's someone on Ravelry, and I'll link it in the show notes, that has made a chart, because this is just a written pattern, and I cannot think about lace in written patterns. I need the chart. Like, I need to visualize it. So I have the chart saved on my iPad, and I will link to that person's project who made the chart. I love you. That's the person who made it.
I'm just the opposite. I can read a chart, but I feel like I have to think about it a lot more. I feel like I'm like, just write it out for me so I don't have to have any thought to it. So
no, something about reading the letters. My brain wants to like scramble the letters.
That's so funny.
Whereas the chart is like a visual representation of exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. So do you have another project you're working on?
I've got my cardigan. Yay. I am down to the wire, people. I want to wear it on. I wanted to wear it on Christmas. Do you know what the temperature is supposed to be on Christmas Eve?
No, tell me.
61.
Oh, that's too warm.
Like,
we'll pick it up and show them. We've got to look at it. It's so beautiful. It's very cool. And this, again,
I about panicked right before I'm going to be playing yard chicken.
She realized she did not have more of the gray right before we started recording. And I said, we should catch this panic for our audience. So this is one sleeve, and This is the other.
And I still have this on the needles because I wasn't sure about how long I wanted to do the ribbing. Turns out this ribbing's going to have to go bye-bye. Because it really, at the bottom of this ribbing, it is long enough. And I was just going to fold this back. But yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? It's so
see
beautiful.
It's
got pockets. You've already sewn up the pockets.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly, yeah.
Mostly.
I see.
The pockets, the inside of the pockets get sewn into this bind off, this I-cord bind off. And so I still have to attach the interior pocket to the interior of the hems of the sweater. So, see, you can see on this sleeve how long this section is right here for this darker color. I'm about halfway through. I have this much yarn left.
I told her that's fine.
I think I can do it.
Now pick up the gray yarn. Now for the gray part, this is how much she has left. And she needs to knit that much gray over here. So I told her if she rips, because this already goes to her wrist. This goes like down over her hand.
Yeah.
So if you rip off that and
ribbing,
this is going to be enough to do that.
Yeah.
I think so. Good luck.
So, yeah. And I wanted to finish it because we have all of our stuff. You think, oh, you got till Thursday? No, we have till Wednesday. We do all of our Christmas things on Wednesday.
On Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So, today I can work on it.
After this, we need to stop talking.
I need to stop talking. I gotta go knit. So then tomorrow I have to work for my stepdad. He's an insurance adjuster, and I do all his typing and stuff. And we usually work from about 10 to 2. So I've got to do work for him tomorrow and then cook for the next day. I am making a breakfast casserole.
Oh, nice.
Sticky buns.
Ooh.
Macaroni and cheese. For that we have a breakfast at my house with my family. My mom, my sister, and Matt's mom, and my grandparents. They all come here, and we open presents with the kids and have a big breakfast. And then we have a little nap, rest time, play with the toys, whatever. And about that afternoon, about 3 or 4 or so, we go over to my other grandmother's and do dinner. And so I'm making macaroni and cheese and cranberry relish and carrot souffle, which is amazing.
So your point is you have no time to knit.
I don't have enough
The good news is
time.
all you have is stocking net one sleeves with decreases.
Yes.
So you're gonna you
Yes.
could do that right now while we're talking.
Yes. That's what I was just thinking. I
Yes.
can go ahead and work on this.
Yeah, because you're not trying to finish those socks for your husband by Christmas, right?
No.
They're just for the fun of it. Oh, and I meant to say when she was talking about her Christmas sock or husband socks.
Bless you.
Misty posted on Ravelry a question about knitting men's socks. So if you have men's sock knitting advice,
Yes.
share
This
that
is my
on our
first
Ravelry
pair
group.
of men's socks.
And I have made some pairs that have resulted in holes and sadness. And another pair that didn't fit his foot. Not a whole pair. One sock that didn't fit his foot. And I was like, well, forget that. And I never knit the second one.
I traced the foot pattern on cardboard.
Yes.
A la
Fish lips.
kiss heel, thank you. And so I feel pretty confident that I can get them to fit as far as knowing when to start the toes and whatnot.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So,
yeah. And so I have one more work in progress, and that is, Mom, if you're watching, stop watching. Avert your eyes. Okay, now that my mom's not watching. So you might remember, and many of you commented on my Instagram feed, oh, you didn't give your mom her sweater for Christmas, and I deleted your comment because
I was like, duh, should have not to
but it
mention
wasn't
that.
just you, it was also Carrie Pickle and one other person. And I just responded to them deleted because surprise. So the sweater is still on, but here's the thing. I had to go to Vermont for my grandpa's funeral, and I knit on it all on the plane. I knitted it all on it sitting
So
there.
pretty.
I got tons of it done, but I realized Sunday morning as I'm getting, so I flew out at 5:45 a.m., which meant because the airport's an hour away through the snow, it snowed like over 2 feet while I was there because it's Vermont in the winter. And I realized I woke up at 2:30. I was supposed to get out of bed at like 3:15, but I woke up at 2:30 in a cold panic. Oh my goodness, where I am now, I've split for the fronts, and I've started the left front. It has some progress. That's my other needle poking through. And you can see that's the underarm you can kind of see, over to the side, and then this is the left front. And so you knit it all in the round up until you break for the underarms, and you knit the left front, then you knit the right front, and then you knit the back. It's a lot of sweater, let me tell you. And then you pick up sleeves and you knit down for the sleeves. And I thought, like, at 2:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, I was like, okay, so even if I finish the fronts today, which is a big if, because I'm going to be on planes and in airports, but you don't, like, always have, especially a project like this, you don't always have the elbow room to actually knit it. And like, a lot of the time in the airport is spent like walking furiously to your next gate, and then I'm gonna come home and I don't know what's gonna like be going on at home. So even if I get the fronts finished on Sunday and I get the back finished on Monday, which is a huge if, then I only have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to do the sleeves, and that's 2 days a sleeve, and that's insane. I can't do a whole sleeve in fingering weight, like long sleeves, in 2 days, because these are not 2 full days of knitting. These are like working days. I have to work at least 8 hours a day to get everything done so that I can actually be off at Christmas time. And the thing is, if I was giving this to my mom at Christmas, it would have been fine, but we do our Christmas, we just did it the weekend before. We did like the 18th, 19th, 20th, or 19th, 20th, something like that. So I really only had those few days. If I had another week, if I got to wait and to give it to her till the 24th or 25th, I could have gotten it done. So I decided that Sunday to put it down and instead cast on for the honey cowl I told you about in that yarn I showed you. And I also gave her, and I don't have them because I already gave them to her, Hurry Up Spring Arm Warmers from the book Stitch and Bitch Nation, which I had made like 6 years ago. I made a pair for my best friend and I love them. There are arm warmers that go from like here to here, and they have a thumb gusset and like a thumb that you knit up on, and then they have a cable panel with leaves going up the cable panel, and the rest of it is 2x2 rib. So I ordered the yarn for those in the same Blue Nile colorway from Mad Tosh in the Yarn Vintage, and they arrived Friday morning. And we were leaving for her house at 3 in the afternoon on Friday.
What?
And I had still had a work day. So I wound the yarn into a ball as soon as it arrived, like with my morning coffee. And then I worked, and then I cast on in the car for the first one. We got to her house, we visited. At 10, I'm like, I'm really sleepy, I'm gonna go to bed. I stayed up for 2 more hours and I finished the first one. And so they're really a fast pattern, and it was with a worsted weight yarn. And after knitting on fingering weight sweaters forever, let me tell you how amazing worsted weight feels. It feels like the most fantastic thing you've ever knit with. So, plus that yarn is just really soft and wonderful and squishy. And so I wrapped her cowl, which I'd finished like that morning, and her fingerless glove, which I stayed up late, and I gave her that. And then when she opened it, she's like, "Where's the other arm warmer?" And I said, "Oh, it's right here." And I like cast it on. It was in my project bag. And so for the rest of the day, I knit on that. And by the end of the day,
did you explain to her that why you had a last minute?
No, she has no idea this sweater. So she thinks that's all I made her for Christmas. She doesn't know I've spent the last month working on this. Which is why I deleted all your comments on Instagram, because I don't want her to know I've spent the last month working on this. And I'm so blessed. Her birthday's in January. It's January 29th. So I'm going to finish this and give it to her on her birthday. So this is still in the works, and it still has a deadline, which is not that far from now. So woo! In the next podcast episode, which will be 2 weeks from now, I kind of hope I'm almost done with it, so I can like give you the final showing, so that I can just wrap it and be done. But I think we actually have 2 episodes in between. I was doing the math in the car on the way over here. We have 2 episodes in between now and giving it to her, so I will be able to show you more. And I'm sad I can't show you the spring arm warmers because they're so cute, but if you check out Ravelry or Instagram, you will see lots of pictures of them. I'll link to my project page. And I'm Tara Swiger on Instagram, and I showed a couple pictures of her wearing them, me wearing them. She gave me a quilt for Christmas, which was amazing, and she wanted to hand quilt the center panels like a big thing of flowers. She machine quilted in the ditch around it, but those flowers she wanted to hand quilt. So I took a picture of her hand quilting, wearing my gift to her while she quilts her gift to me. It was like meta. So that's the story of this work in progress. It's still a work in progress. Do not talk about it on Instagram, because my mom is Bluebird Legacy on Instagram, and she I haven't been able to share this because, and like,
she's on there quite a bit. Yeah,
she stalks me, and so she will like comment on all my stuff and like watch all my pictures, and then on the phone she'll call me and be like, I saw that you just baked, or you're baking cookies right now. So like, she's definitely watching, so beware, don't say anything about it, please and thank you. And it's totally okay if you made the comment. I think you guys are so sweet, and it's good to know you were thinking of me on that day. I did not get it finished in time, but I still feel fine about it. I gave her a handmade gift. And she actually said the handmade gift was the last one she opened from us. And she goes, oh, good. I was so afraid there was going to be no handmade gift. And I was like, if you only knew. Like, seriously.
Are you going to tell her the whole story on her birthday?
I might tell her I was going to give it to you on Christmas, but I wasn't done in time. But I think that almost takes away from the fact that, like, I will tell her I started it in the beginning of November. This is all I've worked on. Because what's funny is she asked me about a sweater that she had bought the yarn for that I had started knitting like 4 or 5 years ago. And she was like, you know, have you, I don't want to be like offend you, but have you worked on that? And I was like, no, because like, we'll talk about it some. I plan on knitting it eventually, so I'm definitely going to talk about it here. But what I wanted to be like is, no, I haven't made any progress on that one, because instead I've knit you a fingering weight sweater, and you're going to love it, or else it might kill us.
I think the next sweater I want to be fingering weight. This one is, I don't know, I love the base. It's so nice and squishy and great, and the yarn is just, it's really nice yarn. It's very round, but it should, I think it should have been called worsted instead of decay. It's just too heavy. It's when she tried it on, it like stands on its own. Yeah, it doesn't have a really great drape to it or anything like that. And it's not that it's not soft, it is. It's just a very round, you know, plush yarn. And I think I'm ready for something that's, you know, flows a little better. This one, I mean, it's gonna have to be cold for you to be wearing it. I'm worried that, you know, it's gonna be more of a jacket than a cardigan. Well, and it's rough now because the temperatures have gone up to the 50s and 60s, which is really, but let me tell you how much you would have liked this in Vermont. Oh yes. Whereas like I get worried with the fingering weight sweaters that like they're not gonna be warm enough. But I guess they're cardigans. You'll put a coat on over it when you go out. So I think that's it for our works in progress. Yeah, I've got a couple other things going, but nothing else. I've really focused on this, and we planned on going to the movies, and so, I'd fretted all week that I didn't have a movie knitting project, and so I got that yarn dyed up and started those socks just so I could take them to the movies. I'm like, I love that. Crazy, but yeah, the movie was awesome. It was very sad. Oh no, I haven't seen it yet. Don't tell me. I'm not going to tell anybody anything, but it was sad. Take tissues. Somebody told me to take tissues, and I'm glad I did. But it was of course another great epic movie. It was awesome, and we had the most amazing dinner at Longhorn. We had gift cards, and my husband, neither one of us had lunch, and so he talked me into this big, huge dinner. My dog wants to say hi to you. Come on. And so this is my dog, Emmy. Hi. She's being a baby, and she wants to sit in my lap today. There are 4 boys upstairs. Her 2 boys plus 2 of their friends. Okay, stop it. So that's it for our works in progress, and I talked about my 2 finished projects. I'm so annoyed. The first time I have a finished project in months, and I don't have it with me to show you. But did you finish anything else? I didn't. I showed like a ton of finished stuff last time where I did gift knitting. And she finished so much, it was unbelievable. I let everybody pick their own gifts. I was like, I don't know what to give to everybody. And I had a couple left over. And I listed them on Facebook for sale. And I need to take them up to either list them in my shop or take them up to the Jonesboro shop to. So if you liked what she showed last month and you're like, I would really like to buy one of those. Yes, the purple one and the black and red one are for sale. Just let me know if you're interested. I need to put them on Instagram, but okay. So message her on Instagram or Ravelry, or just post in our Ravelry group under the show notes for this episode. The last thing we're going to talk about is she showed her needle storage before. You guys have been sharing them with us, and actually somebody tagged us on Instagram. Oh, cool. They took a picture. Look for the hashtag Handmade Podcast, because they tagged me. I don't know if they tagged your name too. But they just bought a thing for Christmas for their needle storage, and they were like, this is what I got for my needle storage. So yay, thank you for sharing that with us. This is mine. This is I think it's by Lantern Moon, a wrap
that was given to me in like a swap that I did on Crafster, those forums back in like 2006. So I don't know if they still make these. If they do, I'm gonna look it up and link to it in the show notes because I love mine. So it unfolds and it's kind of horrifying on the inside. So be prepared. Misty would never live like this, but this is how I live. So this is the deal.
That would drive me crazy.
No, I know, but I mean, yeah. So there are round circulars in the middle and straights on the side, and this is awesome to travel with. If you need this many knitting needles when you travel, which I tend to just pull out the needle I'm gonna need and take it with me. Double points over here and some straights and some circulars. Nowadays I knit almost exclusively with circulars, even if I'm gonna knit flat. Like that tilting TARDIS cowl is knit flat. I still knit it with circulars. I didn't even check my straights to see if I have a straight in the right size because I don't like the extra weight at the end of my hand. I like for it all to be held.
Thankfully, I didn't buy many straights. I had a pair of metal ones, and they were kind of, I guess they were probably 10s or something. They were 9s or 10s, and I kept wanting to stick them in my arms.
Yeah,
and
a lot
so
of
I
knitters
took it
do that.
pretty early on. I had knit like a little swatch or scarf or something, but I took a class pretty early on. She's like, "No, honey, no. You're gonna knit with circulars. You need to buy these." And I'm like, "Okay." So yeah.
So I also have my crochet hooks in here, and this is what this is really handy for. These are really, it's not that as many straights as it looks. And then what's interesting is these two crochet hooks, if you can see them here, they were my husband's grandma's before she passed away, and she kept them in a little vase next to her bed. So when she passed away and they were kind of going through her stuff, nobody else in the family does any needle crafts. So they're like, Tara can have them. So I love them. I love this because it holds everything. This is a zipper pocket where I have a lot of like the pins I use for blocking and some stitch markers. Actually, that might be where my stitch markers is. I can't find my Doctor Who stitch markers. I put them somewhere. It has a flap that folds over it. So this is 90% of my needle.
That's very cool.
99% of my needles. The other ones, I have a couple pretty vases in my living room that I have a lot more straights in, but these are straights that are like the old kind of aluminum, like this.
That's what mine looks like.
But my great grandpa knit, and he had all these old straights that when he passed away, I got those. So they're all in a vase in my living room. I also have a bowl of yarn that's like my projects I'm working on. That are in my knitting bags, the extra yarn. So like the extra yarn for my blue sand cardigan and for Isabel and for a pair of socks that I'm working on, they're all in that yarn bowl, and the next to it is knitting needles. So I never knit with those needles that are in the vases. Yeah. Those are just there for prettiness because I never knit with straights. And I realized as I was looking at my stuff, like, I knit with the same like 4 pairs of circulars all the time.
Yeah.
And because I always knit in the same weights. You know, it's either fingering weight or worsted, and that's it.
I had all my stuff shoved in these little clear zipper bags. And so, yeah, my stuff was... And I did have them, like, all the cables kind of clipped together. A little rubber band. Quit your whining. I'm sorry.
See, I love that. It's messy on the inside, but it's beautiful. It's packageable.
Yes.
And this just sits in my closet on top of the thing that holds all my yarn. And so I get it out, and I go through it, and I use my needle gauge to figure out what size the things are.
So mine is ugly.
No, but it's way more organized.
I think I'm going to have to put a clip at the bottom of this because they get twisted around and stuff.
See, hers are all labeled. That's amazing.
This is new. I just did this not long ago.
But you shared this last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm excited about, I need to add some more, and I like having the packages in them. And so, yeah.
I love it. It's very handy. So we like seeing your needle storage. Thank you for showing us on Ravelry.
Yes.
We've like loved seeing it. And then I thought, and I meant to talk to you about this before we got started, but we'll just tell them. I thought that next time, since it's a new year, we could talk about the new things we want to make in the new year.
Yeah.
So individual patterns, but also like I want to knit more sweaters, or I want to knit more socks, or kind of like knitting resolutions. But they don't have to be resolutions, so just anything. So we would like to hear from you. What do you want to do in the new year? Because our next episode is going to be right at the beginning of the new year. So you tell us. Yes. What you want to do, and we will read some of your examples. Oh, I didn't even talk about what I'm wearing. Yeah. I got to talk about, because I know you guys are going to want to know. So this is a cross-stitch T-Rex, which is my nickname because, you know, my name starts with T, and I have a big head, and I have really short arms. It's a whole long story about how that came about, but it's true. And so I love T-Rexes, and Jess of Storied Yarns, she storied yarns on Instagram and Ravelry, and she has the yarn company Storied Yarns. She works as my I call her my Vulcan, or like my number one. She is, the technical term is she's my virtual assistant, but really she like is my other brain in my business and makes everything better. And as a Christmas gift, she sent me this T-Rex with the heart. It's cross stitch. It's a necklace. I love it. And these earrings, which are crocheted triangles, and like a cuff thing, which I didn't bring with me. But this is so amazing. You guys should go follow her. And when I got the gift, I was like, ah! And I got it right on Friday before I left. This is the most amazing thing ever, and I'm gonna wear it all the time.
That is too cute.
So I think that's it, right? For us. Thank you for watching, and talk to us on Ravelry. We'll share everything we talked about, and we want to hear from you. What do you want to knit more of in 2015?
Yes, I'm looking forward to chatting with people a little more once I'm not crazy with this
holiday
sweater,
stuff.
And cooking, and cleaning, and extra children in my house, and all that good stuff.
So we hope that you're enjoying your holidays and the extra children and cooking and cleaning, and that you have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
We'll see you in 2015.
Bye.
Bye.